So South Africa take on England in the first ODI, and it's going to be an exciting one. It's a new series for South Africa to test themselves once again. I know it's not going to be for the Super League points, etc., but it's still a very important series that we're going to have to cover over here. And we're going to be covering it live on Cricket Fanatics magazine. As much as we can give you, we will give you. Sorry, we took a little bit longer to come on. I know I'm late. I've got new equipment today, so I had to like connect it and do all of those type of things. We're going to be improving little things, small little things, slowly but surely. You might see a difference in the picture quality in the future, in a couple of months time, or in a couple of weeks time. We're still finding out if we're going to get maybe new material, etc., to make our content look a lot better. Um, so this is the show. This is the preview show. Let's get into it. But before we get going, I would like you guys to please, if that button is red, please click subscribe, click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Also, don't forget to smash that like button, comment, and share. And please comment on this video and share it with all your friends and family because it really helps us improve and us grow as well. We also have a couple of things that I'd like you guys to also do is download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free straight to your inbox every single month. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. And also become a patron today. That's how you help us promote South African cricket. That's what we are trying to do. We're trying to promote South African cricket and trying to give back as much as possible when it comes to that. Also, what you guys can do is go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your daily updates and for your reports and for your all of those type of things, your press conference pieces, all of those type of stuff will be on the website. So go ahead to cricketfanaticsmag.com to get those updates as well. I've also put the PayPal account in the link in the description so that you guys can give donations wherever you feel like you want to do so. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's video. Looking forward to discussing this particular series. So important, so important, so important to find the next generation of talent and also to see what South Africa's mindset is going forward in ODI cricket. So let's go into it. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your preview show. I'm your host, Khalid. This is the show where we talk about all things that has to do with South Africa versus England in the ODI series. We know that the first game starts and kicks off tomorrow, and we'll be discussing a whole host of things when it comes to this particular match. But I think what we need to get started over here, DJ, is Keshaf Maharaj had a press conference today. I think let's react to that and see what he had to say before we get into our preview. So I'm just going to get that for you guys on the screen so that you guys can watch it with us. Very important that we do get some insight into that as well. We've got Werner with us as well. So we're going to look at this particular press conference and see what Kesh had to say first and foremost before we get into our thoughts on this particular match, because it's good to hear from the captain. I think that would be nice to hear what they're thinking heading into the series. So let's watch it together and see what Kesh had to say.
Excited to hit the ground running at the start of this ODI series. It's been a while since we've played our last ODI game, but I think it's obviously been quite a substantial, lengthy build-up to the series. So the boys are happy to be on the park come tomorrow and hit the ground running.
Sorry, I have struggled with the audio a little bit, so I'm not sure what you said at the start there, Lucy, but Kesha, if we could just have your thoughts on the ODI format itself. There's been a lot of discussion about cancelled matches and how ODI cricket fits into the schedule just ahead of a big series against England. And do you have any concerns about how viable it is going forward?
Yeah, obviously we haven't done relatively well in the ODI format, but I think it's
We haven't done relatively well.
We've been trying various methods and combinations. So, hopefully we found
Better than what the
that sort
CEO
of rhythm
said.
to our game now, and we can start off on a positive note come this England series. Obviously, England's come off quite a bit of cricket and they pretty much a more settled team. But I think, having put in the hard work during the last, call it 12 months, I think it's about time that you're going to see some good results come this series moving forward.
We hope so, because we are not in a very good space currently in ODI cricket. We'll get into more analysis a little bit later. I will pause when there's anything really significant that was said.
Thanks, Rory. I will go for those. I just want to check, for those when you ask a question, just let me know if the audio is good now.
Yeah, no, the audio is fine now, thanks. Hi, Kish. Just to follow up from what Rory was asking, I mean, these matches are not part of the World Cup Super League, and we know that the Super League won't happen anymore. But, what do you think in terms of context and ODI cricket having the context of the Super League? Are you happy to see that go, or would you like to see it continue? And how do you feel about matches played outside of that league?
Yeah, I think international cricket's enough motivation to play. But yeah, I think it's good to have the Super League. In my perspective, it makes you play your best cricket at throughout the year. Also, it just allows you to come up with various sort of styles of play that you want to implement come the World Cup next year. So I think it's a good system. It's also you've got to play your best team at all times. So that's I'm in favor of it.
Oh, is it? You have to play your best team at all times.
Either that or you skip it.
After that, you skip it. I mean, Aditya, they haven't really been playing their best teams in the Super League whenever we've had the opportunity to pick up points. So it's a bit contradicting again in a press conference.
Yeah, I feel like that is a $1 million question in that press conference, right? Because you've just come off news that we've been discussing extensively on this channel about South Africa forfeiting that, and what the real perception is about the Super League points and so on. And you feel like if you really have to play your best team, then you should be playing your best team more often than not. So.
Yeah, too many times we've seen that we haven't been. So let's continue. It almost seems like to me like the ODI format has now become our T20 format. Remember before, the T20 format used to be like our testing arena. We used to test people and give debuts left, right, and center to everybody in the T20 World Cup. We also used to use it for numbers to level out our quota numbers. So like now it's almost seemed like the ODI arena has been that format to do so now. Which is
that's
strange.
In part that's because the T20 World Cup is every 2 years.
Yeah.
So teams are forced to now take that a bit more seriously, and the ODI World Cup is every 4 years. So you can afford to start working on that about a year and a half out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, perfect example, perfect explanation to that. Let's continue with what Keshav had to say.
Thanks, Chris. We'll go Talbot, then Awile.
As you just said, there is a World Cup, 50th World Cup, that's quite a long way away. Keep playing World Cup in a way, Test series.
That's bad.
Yes, sorry. Can you repeat that, please, Telford? Sorry.
Apologies.
That's okay. You said there's a 50-over World Cup coming, but that's quite a way down the track. There's all sorts of things before that, like a big Test series against England and a T20 World Cup. So a series like this, which doesn't carry points, without trying to sound rude, what's the point of it?
Yeah, I think it's important for us more especially as an ODI unit to keep playing together. I think the more you play, the better you get, the better you can work on combinations and things like that. I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an international cricket game, so it's enough motivation and build up towards series that do count for points. So I think I'm in favor of it, and I'm so glad that we are playing it, building up towards an important summer for us and year, and probably the next 2 years ahead of us. There's a lot of ICC events coming up, and it's a nice way, like I said, to find the combinations that you want and want to play going forward.
Thanks, Talbot. Awile.
Hi, Kish. I hope you're good outside. You just mentioned now that You guys have been playing a lot of ODIs, and England just come out of ODI series against India. Obviously, you're going to have some tight legs. Do you think that you guys are going into the series looking to capitalize on that, looking to capitalize on England having they just play well against India? Do you think that you can use that to your advantage?
Yeah, definitely. I think there's two sides to look at it. Obviously, they found a combination. They've been playing cricket more so than us at the time. But I think it is a point that we can try and sort of capitalize on and build some confidence in this ODI unit. Obviously, our results haven't really gone our way, but it's a nice way to build that confidence and filter in towards ODI cricket up until the World Cup next year.
So that's something that was interesting, Aditya, because it kind of covered what you spoke about yesterday. South Africa not necessarily getting so many games going into series, major series like this, and obviously England coming off a game time against India and vice versa. So he gave a diplomatic answer, I guess. Most of Keshav's answers are generally like that. So let's continue.
Thanks. Wahid, thank you. Wahid? All right, I think we'll move on to Ken for now, and then Lloyd.
What's happening?
Hi, Lucia, we can hardly hear you, but I think you said it's me now. How's it, Kesha? The last time South Africa played at Test of the Street was in the World Cup against Sri Lanka 2019. And the Proteas team has really enjoyed conditions there, bowling Sri Lanka out to 203. Is it looking likely that similar conditions for tomorrow, bringing your pace bowlers into play?
Sure, it's a hard one to gauge right now, although the summer, it's been quite hot since we've been here. It actually feels like we're back home in South Africa, but I think the decision hasn't been made as yet. I think the coach and the selectors will make that plan accordingly, and yeah, then we'll take it from there.
Thanks,
Do you want me to pause there? Let me pause there.
Then Zahir, and then we...
Just to correct one thing, South Africa's freezing right now.
yeah, South Africa's freezing. But I mean, obviously talking I've heard that England is like 30 degrees at the moment. Like, it's crazy.
There's massive heat wave going on all across Europe. There's like wildfires in Greece and Spain and so on. It's debilitating.
I heard it was around 39 degrees in England today, and the humidity is high as well, so it's like doubly bad.
Jeez. Okay, cool. So we might see completely different conditions than we thought in this particular test. Let's see what happens. I mean, yeah, someone's saying 40 degrees in the comments.
All right, I think we'll move on to Ken for now.
Okay, so we got
back
that.
home in South Africa, but
sorry,
and then
guys.
we are going to start taking the last questions. Lloyd, over to you.
Thanks, Lucy. How's it, Kesh? Can you just talk a little bit about the dynamic of the stand and captaincy? I suppose there's not really time or scope to kind of put your own stamp on the team in terms of philosophies and things like that. So is it a case of being aware of what has been started under Timber and then trying to facilitate that growth as much as possible over the next little while? Or is there scope for you to kind of put your own stamp as a leader on this team?
Yeah, I think obviously it's just to pick up where Temba's left off. We know our philosophy and strategy as a unit, so it's about filtering that into the current series, and obviously on the field it might be a little bit different, but yeah, I think as a whole it's just to lift off where Temba left us.
Okay, that's interesting, because I wanted to know that. Seems to be that there was a certain mentality, a certain philosophy spoken about, a way of play, a mentality, a culture, and that was obviously led by Temba Bavuma when he came into the captaincy. And I think that all the players obviously then must have bought into it. If Keshav is saying what he's saying right now, that they're just going to continue where he left off. So any thoughts on that, guys? Werner or Aditya, on his comments about the captaincy? And I mean, because it makes me feel it's a bit strange that he never said no. I am trying to also stamp some of my ideas into the mix as well, and try to do things my own way. But he hasn't. He's kind of said that there is some sort of synergy between Temba's way and his way.
I think they've been playing together for quite a while now, so it makes sense that they will probably think in the same way, because they would have bounced ideas off of each other in the matches. So I don't think it's too surprising that their philosophies would probably be the same. I don't know exactly what the philosophy of the team is that he's talking about. I'd love to see a positive philosophy, one where we're saying we're going to make use of the power play, but I'm not sure what the ODI philosophy is. Let me say
No
that
one
I'm not
knows.
sure.
No one knows, because I mean, people say yes, good to have a great aggressive brand of cricket in T20 cricket, but you can be a little bit more. I wouldn't say conservative, but a little bit more conservative in the ODI arena because you have more time. So I've seen that narrative go around, but I've also seen the narrative where fans are saying no, they want the aggressive brand of cricket throughout. It doesn't matter what format is being played. So yeah, we're gonna have to see, because it almost, to me, it doesn't feel. I don't feel at all. Oh, how can I say, confident with our one-day performances? Even though we beat India not so long ago, I still feel uncertain a little bit about certain positions within the team. I still feel uncertain about philosophy. I don't feel comfortable that when we're missing someone, that we have a good enough replacement for every position in the team. So I am a bit worried about that moving forward. Let's just see if there's yeah, Aditya?
There's this question of philosophy, right? The philosophy has to revolve around the personnel that you have. It's not the other way around. So if you look at the English team of the early 2000s, where you have Michael Vaughan and Strauss, and you have Michael Vaughan, Strauss, Nasser Hussain. I mean, Nasser Hussain, Andrew Strauss basically replaced him, but you have like Andrew Strauss and Michael Vaughan and
Cook.
and a bunch of those players, and you say that you want them to play aggressive cricket. That's not going to happen. But you put in Kevin Peterson and Andrew Flintoff into that mix, and suddenly things change. And Ian Bell, and then you say that you want to play aggressive cricket. That's possible because now you have the personnel to be able to do it.
So, and it's a lot more in cricket, I think, than in any other sport. Actually, it's a lot more difficult to adapt your personal game plan if you are not that way inclined naturally, because it's so many repetitions that you need to master skill in cricket.
Yeah. So, for example, you look at previous South African teams. For example, you ask Faf du Plessis to grind an entire day out. Bat 5 or 6 sessions. He can do it because that's more of his game. But if you ask Herschel Gibbs to do that, he's not going to be able to do it. The only way that he can probably survive batting an entire day is by smacking bowlers all over the park. So I think that's where philosophy changes, right? Your philosophy has to be predicated on the people that you have in the team. If suddenly you say, I want Rassie van der Dussen to start with 25 of 10 balls, that's not going to happen because that's not his game.
Although we have seen a change in his mentality recently.
It is.
He's been speaking about it, and now we slightly saw it in the warm up where he came out with a lot more intent. But look how long it's taken him to try that.
It is, but the other question is that do you really want to do that? Because if Rassie is scoring you 70s and 80s and he's got a great average in ODI cricket, and he's able to produce those big scores using his template, then do you really want to move him away from that and risk Rassie not scoring big runs? Like, that's a massive question, right? Because you can't sacrifice big runs for the rate that you're scoring them at. You have to mold the other personnel in a way that you get both the big runs and the speed. And that's where I feel like there's a bit of a problem there.
Yeah, and I get that. I get that point of view 100%. Let's see if Keshav has said anything else. I don't know if this is the end of it.
Thanks, Lloyd. Before we go on to Zahir, just to answer Talford's question there about an update on Quinny's fitness, he is available for selection tomorrow.
Awesome. Quinny's available, guys. That's very important. Very good.
Kesh, although this series doesn't count for any points, but South Africa never won a white ball series in England. You guys aware of that, and how much motivation does that actually play in a series like this, where you don't go to England very often?
Yeah, I think I was made aware of it not so long ago. But yeah, it does present an opportunity to do something special as a unit. I think we've come a long way in all facets of the game, as a team, as a unit. So, it is an opportunity to try create history as a team, but we're going to take it one ball at a time, one game at a time, and hopefully we can cross over the line and achieve something really big as the ODI unit.
Thanks, Zahir. And then I think we'll wrap off with Heinz.
No, with all gold.
Thanks, Lucy. Hi, Kesh. I mean, it's obvious that you guys will have to fight fire with fire from a batting perspective, because of the type of cricket that England play, for the past almost, 8 years almost. But just from a bowling perspective, I wanted to hear, given the way that England invariably bat, as attacking as possible, how tempting is it as a bowling attack just to go full out and fight fire with fire, just to not worry too much about the economy rate, but, just take wickets and, for example, bowl them out for 250 and 40 overs? Or do you believe that you guys, or there's still a place, to be more measured, to actually have periods of control interspersed with, attacking and that type of thing?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think we can see how England play. They do the positive approach. But having said that, if conditions allow us to be a bit more aggressive at them, then so be it. But if not, we're going to try to be smart in the way we sort of marshal ourselves on the field and combat England with our game plan. So, yeah, I think it's all about the assessment on the day, on the pitch and the overhead conditions to see what we can do to negate their batters.
Okay, I'm done with that thing, with that, Presser. I don't even want to listen further. That last...
such a smart conservative team.
the last saying proves it to me, on the style and the way they're thinking. It's not aggressive all the time, guys. So don't expect that. Don't get upset if you don't see us play like England. Doesn't seem like we are going to. That's why they've thrown that word and continuously said it, smart, to show that conditions are going to determine how they play. So that's how we need to accept it. That's how Proteas are going to play currently. Nothing that we say is going to change that right now. I think they are a little bit too scared to change things too quickly. I think they want to rather ease into aggressive style rather than just scrap it and just start new. Don't know what they're scared about. But yeah, that's what Keshav had to say. Pretty much what we thought. So let's get into our preview. Let's get into our thoughts about this particular game. Very good to hear that Quinny's fit. That solves a lot of issues because it will make things a lot easier for us. I've put up the squad. I'm going to put up the squad. I would like to hear what you guys have to say here, like Aditya and Werner, what you guys think about the starting lineup. I don't have Gerald Kutsia in this particular lineup because on the official ODI squad that was released and sent to us via CSA recently, like yesterday and today, Gerald Kutsia is not on the all-rounders list in this particular format, but he is in the T20 format. So I don't know if there was anything. I don't know, Vern, if you heard anything about him, of them saying that he'll be a part of this as well. I'm not 100% sure because on the original team sheet that I had, he was involved in the ODIs, but maybe that was a mistake on my part.
I think so. I think he's only been part of the T20 squad the whole time.
Yeah, so this is the squad. Only one Andile in the squad. So, I made a mistake on the previous graphic. But here's the squad. I'm going to start off just asking the questions over here. Let's start with the opening partnership. I think everybody over here on screen or with us believes that Janneman should open with Quinny. Is that fair to say? Can we move on to 3?
Aye.
Aditya seems okay. Okay, cool. Let's move on to the number 3 spot. I think it's the big discussion on that 3 and 4. Aiden Markram being available with that extra bowling option. You got Rassi van der Dussen who starts quite slow. What would you guys do over there with regards to that top order? Because I think the most difficult part about this particular team is selecting that top 6. I think because it depends on who you're going to leave out there, because we have quite a rich top 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 7 batters over there, 8 batters that we have available to us, including some all rounders in between. So, what's your thoughts, Werner, on that? Is Rassi your number 3 for you, and or are you going to maybe look at someone like Aiden that can maybe bat at 3 and maybe with a more aggressive approach like Aiden?
No, I'd have Rassi at 3. He's done well at 3, and it gives him enough time to build an innings and launch at the end as he wants to. So I'll have Rassi 3, Aiden 4, Miller 5, Klaasen 6. But I expect them to still bat Klaasen ahead of Miller, to my disappointment.
And for you, Aditya, I mean, for us to be able to play an aggressive style of cricket with the current players that we have, do you see it happening with the lineup that Werner has actually spoken about here?
I think the possibility is there, but we'll have to see how they execute. I think you have I think you also have a bit more time, right, in an ODI to sort of consolidate and then score heavily. So I think that fact, honestly, I think if you look at the personnel in the South African team, they're most suited to the ODI format. If you think about it, if you think about their natural games where everyone likes to take a little bit of time and then launch towards the end, that's actually the entire batting lineup for the most part, right? So in reality, if you look on merit and the natural proclivities of all the batters in the team, they should really be succeeding in ODIs. But that's the one format. It's ironical. There's one format where South Africa are really struggling. So, I mean, hopefully they can figure it out. But I think if you look at the natural games of all of these players, they're best suited to ODI cricket.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the lineup again. Are you going to be playing Werner? That all-rounders position is going to be very important. We've got Marco Jansen, Andile Peklukwai, and Dwayne Pretorius available to pick from. Do you think Andile has done enough to cement a position in that all-rounders position? Do you have 2 spots available for an all-rounder in your personal team, or would you only go with one between the 3 of them?
It's tricky. I think it's going to depend on whether they play both spinners, because now Keshav is the captain, so they'll probably play him and Shamsi. So then I think we'll end up playing only the one all-rounder. It seems like Andile is going to be the one that will be picked, and I'm happy with how he's gone with his batting of late. I'm still not convinced about his bowling, so that makes it a tricky one between him and Dwayne, because Andile has started to perform more with the bat than Dwayne has, but Dwayne is generally more consistent when it comes to the ball. So I guess it depends on what they want during the match. Are they going to rely on our 5th bowler to bowl 10 overs? Then you have to ask yourself, how do you feel about Andile bowling 10 overs when he hardly ever does that? Or are they saying, no, okay, Markram is going to bowl 4 or 5 overs, so we only need 5 overs from Andile? Then that's fine. Then they can possibly go with that.
So what would you do is the question.
I would go with Pretorius because I feel he brings more control with the ball.
Okay, awesome. And teacher,
in a lineup where I still feel we need to try and attack the power play, if it doesn't work out, you need somebody who can bring it back a bit, maybe in that middle overs, which I feel Pretorius could potentially do. I know England are probably not going to let our bowlers do that, but I feel more comfortable with Pretorius taking up that role than Andile.
Interesting. I feel a lot more comfortable with, personally, I'm not so sure on Dwayne with the ball in ODI cricket for me. I think 10 overs is too much for him. That's why the extra bowler is so important. And that's maybe why Boucher puts emphasis on that extra bowler, because sharing that responsibility, 5 overs, 4 overs from Dwayne is phenomenal, because he can really squeeze a opposition in that, and he can do his variations. Like I said yesterday on the show with Aditya, I said in ODI cricket, it's a lot more about bowling line and lengths and keeping things in a specific danger zone, or having a stock delivery is very important in ODI cricket, far more than in T20 cricket, I feel. So guys like the Bray Shamsi and the wicket taking guys that take a lot of wickets, like generally speaking, Andila used to take quite a few wickets in T20 cricket before he went off form, etc. He used to also make batters play with regards to the changes that he used to have. Same with Lungi Ngidi, he used to have a lot of um, variations. But in ODI cricket, you need to be able to also keep balls in danger areas consistently over time. So when you're talking about that control, who has the better control at the moment, then you are 100% spot on. Probably right now, Dwayne Pretorius has had the most amount of bowling hours under his name. He's bowled the most amount of time, I think, currently for South Africa in the recent year. Until has been in and out of the team. You can see it's that the rhythm is making him, yeah, he's struggling with his rhythm, and that the emphasis was on his batting the last couple of months. So I get that from your perspective. Aticha, is there anything else maybe? Because I mean, we also have Marco Janssen, left arm option, adds a little bit of variation there too, something different. What would you do with that all-rounder position? Because I think that's probably one of the most important positions in South Africa's lineup currently.
I'm a fan of Marco Janssen because he brings that left arm variety, and I think at the moment he's confident enough to be able to bowl 10 overs. That I think that's got to be one of the major reasons that you pick a bowl. I think Andela's confidence in international cricket took a hit in the last couple of seasons, and I don't know how he's feeling right now, but I think as a bowler, his confidence has taken a hit, and I do think he should have been used better back in the past. But unless that changes, I pick Marco Janssen.
Yeah, I want the days back when Dilo was taking 4 for 23, etc., and 4 for 33, and all of those. Yeah. I want that again.
Yeah.
And the reason why I didn't even consider Janssen is because I don't feel he's an all rounder just yet. I love his bowling, and I think I would like to have him in the lineup as a left arm option. And like even India struggled against Topley in the ODI series. That left arm variation does bring a lot, and he will get extra bounce as well. But I don't think I would be confident in him coming in at number 7 if we're 4 or 5 wickets down for 120 runs. I wouldn't feel comfortable that he will help take us to 280 or whatever the case may be. So he can contribute well with the bat, and we've seen that in tests. But I don't think he's quite at the same level that the other two are.
Guys, breaking news here that I just received. It happened quite a while ago, I think, but you guys probably know about it already. But IPL owners bags all 6 teams in South Africa's new T20 league. Mumbai Indian owners set to have the Cape Town team, CSK to have the Johannesburg team, DC team to have the Pretoria Capitals, DC team to have Pretoria Capitals, LSG to Durban, SRH could have Port Elizabeth, and RR expected to have a team from Paul. So we're going to have a show on this later on. I just wanted to give the news. That is, so it's basically a mini IPL.
which is why they decided to cancel the Australia ODI series, because they probably already months back confirmed to them that all our players will be available no matter what, even if it means us pulling out of the ODI series. And that's how they managed to rope in these guys. And you know that the IPL is trying to become bigger and bigger, but they seem still a bit reluctant to split it up into 2 or a mini edition as well. And I think this is a way to kind of bring it in a way. Even though we probably won't get the India players because they don't play other tournaments around the world, but it might just be what we need in this format, in the T20 format, because we're still lagging behind. So hopefully, but okay, we'll leave it for another show.
Let's leave it for another show. Yeah, that's crazy that's just happened. Also, Ben Stokes is going to retire tomorrow at his home ground, from ODI cricket, which is quite a shock to me. I think he still had so he still has some time on his belt. I think he's still young. I mean, he can still play more years. I don't know, but maybe I've seen a lot of these sportsmen trying to like take early retirement so that they can be with their family, etc. Especially, cricketers specifically. I think we see a lot more earlier retirements in cricket than in other sports these days. With sports science and everything, everything's improved. People can play till 40. I mean, we've seen Tony and Faf and all of these guys. I mean, even the likes of what's that other dude's name from Australia? Shane, what's his name? The opening batter,
Shane Watson.
Watson. He's another guy playing quite till late. Rayner played till quite late as well.
But it's tricky with Stokes because he obviously he's now been made captain of the Test team, which is like a major deal because Test is like the thing in England, right? So always focus is going to be on that, and then he can't really retire from T20 internationals because he still wants to be able to be picked for T20 franchises around the world. And how will they know if he's ready for it if he stops playing that format? So ODI is probably the smartest one to go for if he wants some breaks in between, because playing all three formats and the IPL and the 100, he'll be playing around the clock non-stop. And remember, Stokes just a few months back, he took this big mental break, right? He wasn't playing cricket for quite a few months, and so you know that it's already it took a toll on him before he decided to come back and then now take up the England captaincy. So I don't think it's too surprising. It's probably the right call for him, and I do expect to see more players taking a similar route. Those guys that do play all three formats sometime in the future probably will scale back in one of them.
Mm-hmm. More to worry about than Aditya from a South African perspective, because Ben is going to be up for it. And Ben up for it is extremely dangerous. How does South Africa combat that? I mean, because we can move on to the next part of our discussion, which is that the bowling attack. When Anrich Nokia, like that's why I said it's so important in ODI cricket for especially the quick bowlers that are bowling 140 plus to have a good stock delivery, because when he misses his mark slightly, he goes to the boundary so easily. And there's a lot of cheap runs he's been giving away down the leg side, off the pads, nicks to the boundary. There's been a lot of those things from Andrich. When he slightly misses his mark, he can go for a lot of runs. And hasn't been the most economical bowler out of our fast bowlers in the recent times. He's been struggling with his rhythm. He's been struggling with things. He's taken a couple of wickets here and there. But who are South Africa's currently their best seam attack? Who's their best seam attack currently with the players that we have available to us? What would you say?
Hendrik, Lungi, Marco Jansen in the pace department. And then, you want to go spinners as well?
I think we can leave the spinners because, as we know, there's only two available to us already. So
and Aiden,
one of them must play, Kish. So
Keshav, Shamsi, and Aiden, your 6 bowling options.
Okay. Are you happy with that, Werner?
It's I like the sound of that bowling lineup, even though we definitely will still miss Rabada, especially with Norkia not yet firing at 100%. But I do feel it leaves our batting a touch light. But at least we have an informed Klaas and an informed Miller, so hopefully that'll be enough that we can rely on our top 6 to make the runs we need, and then for Janssen and Keshav to contribute enough with the bat to round it up. So I wouldn't be too surprised if we do go with that. I don't think. Okay, I wouldn't be too mad if we go with that. I don't expect us to go with it. I expect them to go with Andile. But I wouldn't be too mad if they do go with Janssen. Even if let's say Norkia has like a atrocious first game, I wouldn't be against them playing Janssen for Norkia.
I'm gonna ask you guys a question to wrap up this YouTube review. But I think I'm also gonna try to put it in a poll as well on the channel. Let me see if I can. The question I want to ask you guys is, seeing that the World Cup is only a year away, particularly I'm talking about obviously the ODI World Cup, I feel that South Africa have different strategies for the different formats that we play. So for me personally, it doesn't really matter. But the question I want to ask you is, what would you prefer? I'm typing as obviously while I'm asking you, what would you prefer? Would you prefer South Africa losing the series, but you see an attacking brand of cricket, improvements in the approach, and playing a more attractive attacking brand of cricket? So I'm going to say with attacking brand. Or would you prefer us winning the series playing our brand of cricket that we've currently being putting together, or a more conservative style of cricket? So I'm going to put that in the poll, and I want to see what you guys have to say. Those are the only two options you can pick from. I don't want to hear sitting on the fence, middle ground. Oh, I want a bit of both. No, between the two, what would you guys prefer right now at this particular time? Let's start with Aditya and then go to Werner. What would you guys prefer? The poll is live, guys. I think in the live chat. So you guys can start voting over there for that. I think I did put it up. Is it there? You don't see it. Okay. You guys can start talking while I'm setting it up.
Well, okay. Do you want me to answer the question?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. I would like to see South Africa play a brand of cricket they're comfortable with, and preferably win. But if they find that brand of cricket, if they find that style that they're comfortable with and they still lose, that's fine. But I think that's what I'd like to see them do.
Okay, Werner. For some reason, the poll is not working. I don't know why it's not going up. I've put two polls up. It's not working.
Yeah, it's a tricky one. I'd like to see a more positive brand of cricket. I think I'd just like to see some intent from our batters to not just soak up dot deliveries, to not just stand there and wait for the bowlers to bowl a bad delivery. Try and put some pressure back on the bowlers. I don't think we need to be ultra aggressive like England. We don't need to try and strike big 4 out of the 6 deliveries of an over. I think we still need to do it our own way, but to be less conservative, basically. I don't want to see us trundle along and try and get to 280, 300, because that's probably not going to be enough. So I want us to aim high and maybe fall short rather than aim for a safe score and get it.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the poll's not working. So I want you guys just gonna have to throw your answers in the live chat too, so that I can see what you guys like to say. We've got Kiran saying, "I'd like the Proteas to forfeit." We've got I saw someone saying, "Yeah, attack and lose." As the series is not part of the Super League, this is a good time to try and find balanced brand against top English team. Obviously, England will push them to try to be more aggressive because you need to score runs. Michael Joseph saying lose and play in attacking. We've got Pratik say lose and playing attacking. So the emphasis over here does sound like people want to see the brand of cricket being implemented. more over the result right now because it's not for Super League points. Dex says win and attacking. Of course, we want to see win and attacking, but that's not realistic. I don't think, because I mean South Africa is currently in a situation where they're still trying to find their philosophy. Poe was up and then disappeared. Crazy. I don't know why that has happened. I've tried to fix it. YouTube does this crazy stuff with me. I don't understand. It does it sometimes. I've seen other people, other YouTubers also complain about that when they've tried to do things like this. So it's not only me, I guess. So I don't see it either. Oh, here we go. It's back. It's back. Okay, cool. It is available. What would you prefer? Lose attacking 67% in the polls currently. Does that surprise you, though, Werner, in the chat? Does it surprise you that the fans think that way?
Nope. It doesn't surprise me. Everybody wants an attacking brand. They've seen how England do it, and it's exciting to watch. So it's not surprising. I'd love to see that full-out attacking brand in T20s. I'd love to see it. I want us to be a lot more attacking in T20s. In one-day cricket, you can sort of still get away with not being as attacking, but I still want us to be attacking during the power play at the very least. I don't want us to be 39 for 1 after the power play like we were in the first warm-up game. There is no point in it. So I'd like to see us a bit more attacking. Hopefully Quinny makes the difference in that top order. I feel like Yanaman is also selling himself a bit short. He's trying to bat long, but I feel like he's being a bit too conservative as well. He's been starting very slowly, being like 10 or 30 deliveries and stuff like that. So he needs to find a way to rotate strike as well. But yeah, so I'd be on board with a more attacking brand, but not overboard.
I think a lot of the chat that we see in the comment section about the attacking brand of cricket and winning is that I think a lot of people are just not happy with the way the Proteas have approached white ball cricket in general, and I think that's ODI and T20 cricket. But I think if a few results had gone their way, perhaps we wouldn't be seeing the sort of reaction that we're seeing now, with attacking and bold letters and so on. But yeah, having said that, you don't want to see 10 of 30. That's a bit much.
This is a great answer. Jesus took your poll. Apparently, they need that for lunchtime shows. It's a good one. Thank you for
it is fair enough, because somebody who asked about the poll talked about the polls spouted that way.
Oh yeah. Oh, I see. I didn't know. Good one though. I love it. I saw someone say our current strategy is loser conservative. So I mean, anything that we want to see. I mean, currently Werner is staying true to his shirt. He is sitting on the edge currently with regards to what he wants. We know what he wants. What I want is actually in between the two of them. Actually, I would like to see us. I would like to see. Where's this guy been? As long as they don't sell Timber short. Okay, this is like it's your best friend here. Do you know him, Werner? Because this is like he's rolling out your jokes.
I don't, but it seems like we could have a good conversation and keep it going.
Yeah. I want to see South Africa. Like I said, I think the perfect brand for South African cricket, with the diversity that we are creating within our cricket nation currently. We're seeing a lot of different styles and types of cricketers coming out of our system. It's largely due to the fact that we have a very diverse group of in our pipeline with regards to cricket schools, clubs that have certain different mentalities, etc. Even our provinces play different styles of cricket, particularly because of the conditions in their home ground as well, plays a massive factor. You'll see that the Durban team, the Dolphins team, tend to use a lot more spinners within their setup because of their conditions as well, and it depends on where you play as well. Some teams are not equipped for that, the Dolphins are equipped for the chances of them dominating at home with 3 spinners to 4 spinners within their setup, Whereas the likes of, like, for example, Western Province, they don't really have that luxury within their team. So you get different strategies, different styles coming out. And I think a blend of the two is the perfect brand. I mean, yes, in theory, smart attacking cricket is the perfect brand of cricket, but not if you favor one style. Like, for example, South Africa's are more conservative than attacking. If they were equally, like if it was equal, then it would be a different story. But I've seen them even in positions on wickets that should suit them with a bat, and they've struggled, or they played conservative still. So it's something that we want to see. We want to see an improvement. I saw someone say earlier on, I do still think that we're approaching one-day cricket like it was played in 2005. We can look at being more positive. We have the players. And it's an interesting point. I saw someone maybe say that, why don't we select Kyle Verreynne maybe over Aiden Markram instead? Now, what do you have to do that? Because, I mean, who do you play in that extra all-rounder spot now? Because it changes who you pick as an all-rounder. If Dwayne Pretorius and Andile can't give you 10 overs, you can't play them without Aiden. You have to play them with Aiden. But if you're going to play Janssen, who can maybe give you 10 overs, like Aditya said, he can probably give you the full 10 overs, then you can maybe play someone like Kyle Verreynne maybe in that situation. But then you're still cutting it very, very close, because if one person's getting murdered around the ground, it gives you a lot of issues. You have to bowl him out, unfortunately.
And what if somebody gets like extreme cramps with the hot weather in England?
Yeah. That too. You don't know what that, and with our injury record, we're quite fickle. We get injuries quite quickly, and we're sitting with a couple of guys that haven't been playing a lot of cricket also. So, especially in our bowling department.
So one thing that I want to say is that we've been talking about 2005 and 15 and so on, but those teams are actually strong. You think about the team of 2015. You had Quinton, Hashim Amla, Faf du Plessis, Riley Rousseau, Abel de Villiers, David Miller. That's a very strong batting lineup.
A very attacking lineup.
That's a very strong. Like, that's the sort of, you put that batting lineup against current England team, and you feel like, well, you know what, England are going to have to work really damn hard to beat the South African team.
Yeah, and that 2015, we made like 3 scores of over 400. So
exactly, exactly, within a span of 6 months. And even if you're talking about the team of 2005, that was a strong team as well. You had Graham Smith, Herschel Gibbs, Amla, Caldas, de Villiers, and Ashworth Prince, and so on. So it's not like teams of the past, or that teams of 2015 or 2005 onwards. They're not exactly weak.
And
Those teams.
It's not. I don't think people think that they were weak, but I think that there might be an understanding that there was more conservative teams back then than now, which I get the point. But for me, South Africa played a very, very attractive brand of cricket for a very long time. I think we've had players that were capable of doing so. We maybe had 1 or 2 guys that maybe took their time. Like, for example, you've had maybe one opener that took their time, and then you'll have Jacques Callis, who was in your team for majority of the time, that would take his time. I mean, Hashim Amla, even though he was more conservative, inverted commas, he was very, very, very good in the power play. And he completely dominated that by playing good cricket shots. And that's what we're expecting from Janneman and Quinny, to be able to put the same amount of pressure on the opposition. Because if you can start off well, this takes the pressure off your 3, 4, 5 automatically. And that's what we want to see. We want to see consistency at the top of the order. That's why I was stressed. We need to find the right partners for Quinton de Kock that bring out the best in him, because he's so important within that. We know he's number 1 on the team sheet. And I do think that if Janneman bats the way he bats now, like he's batting deep, taking his time in ODI cricket, I think that will help Quinton de Kock a hell of a lot, because it's kind of what we wanted Temba Bavuma to do if he was going to open with Janneman. Most likely in ODIs, we're looking at him at number 3, But there has been occasions, obviously, where the two of them have opened. Kwani and Timber, I think, could complement each other in that perspective. But to me, we can't have these slow starts anymore. We need to put pressure on the opposition early on. And I want to see that from our batters. And in Australia, the ball's going to come off the service quite nicely. It should fall into our trap, and it should fall into our lap. The style of cricket that we want to play, it should help us more so. But you never know. You never know what can happen. I mean, we've been saying we can speak positively, but I mean, I think majority of the world thought South Africa would win the World Cup in 2015. I mean, the way we went into that tournament, we were looking incredibly hot going into that tournament, and the players that were in that team were phenomenal. And I think majority of people, I think that was probably one of the most heartbreaking moments, or one of the most heartbreaking World Cups for South Africa, besides the 1999 run out. I think 2015 was a little bit extra hurtful because we had the players, we had the team. They weren't coming into the tournament in great form, or everything was pointing towards South Africa being that team that can finally win the World Cup, and unfortunately, it didn't happen. I will never forget those images of AB and Morkel and all of those guys crying. It was, yeah, it wasn't really nice to see. Let's do a final wrap up, guys. Let's get your final words, Aditya, and then Werner.
I hope the Proteas figure it out tomorrow. Make one step in the right direction.
I mean, it's all going to come crashing down. We're going to see it on Twitter. Werner's going to be very, very vocal on Twitter. So follow Werner, please. When that team gets released, that's gonna tell us how we're gonna play. If it's Aiden, if it's Kwani, Yanaman, Riza, Rassi, then we know we're gonna take 5 hours to get 100 runs.
I'll tell you the team I expect to play. I'm expecting it to be Kwani, Yanaman, Rassi, Markram, Klaasen, Miller, in that order, unfortunately. Andile, Maharaj, and Giri, Norke, and Shamsi. That's the team I'm expecting to play tomorrow.
Okay.
So
and I can see that. I can see that too.
So
and
we'll see how it goes.
Because Keshav's captain.
Yeah, I have said enough about that, and I've said I'm glad he's not the T20 captain right now.
Can you see them dropping Shamsi though?
Potentially. I don't think they're going to, unless he has like a poor 2 games. Then maybe for the last game they bring in Janssen for him. That could happen. If England really take him down. But he is our attacking spin option still, so it's a tricky one. But so that's the team I expect to see. Hopefully they come out firing tomorrow. I think the one good thing out of this is that we actually have had 2 warm-up games this time. We aren't just coming in totally cold like we usually do. So hopefully we don't start off as slowly as we generally do in series, and we bring the fight to England. What I want to see is Aiden Markram playing like he does for the Titans in List A cricket. That's what I want to see, because he has the talent. He has all the ability in the world. It's a mindset thing. I don't want to see him getting 30 of 28 deliveries and being out. If he gets 100, if he bats for 80 deliveries, he probably has 100. So he just needs to bat time. He's going to naturally make runs, score boundaries, because that's just the way he bats. He doesn't have to do anything special. So that's probably the main thing I'm looking at in this series, because the series doesn't count for anything. And I don't think it's going to make a big difference in where we are. I'm more looking towards the T20 series for the World Cup and the Test series for our position in the World Test Championship. Mm-hmm. So this series, I'm looking at specific things like, how will Aiden Markram adapt? Will he finally break free in this format and dominate the way he should be doing? Because it feels like it's now or never. So that's what I'm looking at.
We want Aiden to be standing in the middle of the field and saying, "I want to break free."
Yeah. I want us to be standing in November singing "We Are the Champions," but
not another one bites the dust.
Yeah, also not free falling. Yeah, so hopefully it goes. Hopefully it goes well in this series. Head on over to the women's game if you guys aren't doing anything tonight. They've bowled atrociously and they fielded even worse. England made 370, but at least you can watch Laura Wolfhard bat for a while, and that at least brightens my day a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what's going on with the women's bowling attack. Yeah, so it's scaring me because in the last couple of games that they've been playing, they've been bowling pretty poorly, especially when they come up against very, very good opposition.
Yeah, but their fielding is atrocious as well.
Was it?
Dropped two or three dropped catches and missed run out, multiple misfields that went for full. Yeah.
But we had this complaint in the T20 World Cup as well. They did something like that as well.
Yeah, but the strange thing is we had a pretty decent World Cup until like we were knocked out in the semis. We beat England in the World Cup, and now they're trouncing us. So yeah.
Now it's frustrating. Just to answer a question, the game will be played at the Riverside in Durham. Aditya, I'm not 100% sure if it will be played in India. If you can just answer that question, if you know which channels or whatever the case may be. Yeah, South Africans, it's on SuperSport and probably will be on SABC as well. Just to let the South Africans know.
So I think it should be broadcast on Sony Live if you're watching on an app, and possibly Sony 10 on television.
Okay.
Khalid,
it's not on SABC.
Yeah, no, you might still be taking that 2005 trend that they're talking about if you think it's on SABC and overseas tour. We didn't even see the World Cup on SABC, so
yeah, I understood the work. I thought this tour would at least send people for it. It's a big tour. Okay, I'm very far in the 2005s. The God of the days. I'm trying to find what time does it start.
It'll start at 2 tomorrow.
2 tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, 2 our time, probably 4:30 at Aditya's time.
And 1 o'clock England time.
Oh, what? No, it's you guys are 3.5 hours, so 5:30, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll start at that time in India for those guys wondering. Just thinking on the topic, just quickly before we head off, on SABC streaming, I hope they can come up with some deal with SuperSport so that we can see that Su-20 tournament on SABC as well, because 80% of the country won't be able to watch it if it's only on SuperSport, and that is a problem.
That's a big problem.
Still, I know it's supposed to be like a big spectacle that everybody around the world tunes into, and that's where the revenue comes from because it's going to be privatized and all those stuff. But you still want the country to look at this and thinking, wow, this is an opportunity. You want to see young kids singing, okay, well, there's now this T20 tournament in South Africa. It's really taking off. We can potentially make it. So let me try and make it in cricket. And if we don't have it on SABC, we won't have that type of things. We only have the specific small part of the population actually just striving for that, and the rest will continue with soccer and rugby. And we're going to lag behind in cricket further and further.
Yeah, I mean, if I was SuperSport, I would create a streaming channel just for this tournament. I mean, it's such a big thing. There's so much money that's going to come in here. I would create a subscription for this tournament for people to be able to view it anyway. It would be nicer if it was on SABC because obviously we know not everybody has great internet connection in this country, particularly in the privileged areas. So, I mean, it would be great if they could find some sort of deal with SABC to be able to at least, because I remember when the Mzansi Super League was showing on TV, the numbers were really, really good. The feedback was amazing. Also, they put it in a slot that was a primetime slot for many people. So,
talking about primetime slot, that's going to be interesting to see what time they do play it, because they're going to probably play it primetime India slot, right? Because it's now it's owned by 6 IPL franchises basically. So that means that it'll probably be like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll start a game or something like that.
I really think that's crazy. I'm actually not so happy about that, but we can do a show on that. We can do a show on that, Aditya, when we chat about that.
But you need to write this down. I'm thinking about these things, but I'm going to forget about it again.
Yeah. Okay, guys, let's wrap this up. Thanks a lot, everybody, for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, and click that notification bell for all future videos. Also, don't forget to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every month. The link is in the screen as well as in the description. Smash the like button. Become a patron today. The link is on the screen. Like, comment, share, do all of those things. And also go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all updates. Guys, we will be doing the review show directly after the game. I know it's late for us. It's going to be late for us. It's going to be late for Aditya, so he might not be able to make every single review show. And the ones that he can...
It probably won't be that late, because if it starts at 2, it should be done by 8 o'clock our time. It's going to be late for Aditya, but
yeah, for Aditya, yeah, not for us. For us, it's fine, but for Aditya, it's going to be late. So
it's going to end like this time. We're ending off tonight.
Well, that depends on over rates and all that, also, right?
Yeah.
Don't even talk about over rates.
And
Maybe
it
we
depends.
get rolled out for 150. We can do the review show at 6.
I was about to say, if we bat second, then it will be probably over, because if they start scoring 400 runs against us and they be chasing and we reach 350 and we lose by 50, if we lose and we ended up not getting there, I mean, that's going to be a waste of time. We're going to be having a late stream just to discuss something like that. I wouldn't want to do that, but that's a great comment. Let's end it there, guys. Thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget to smash like buttons and all of those things and comment, etc. We'll see you again tomorrow with a review show. Excited for this one, guys. Back to covering cricket. This is when our channel is at its hottest and obviously the most popular at this particular time periods when we're playing games. So please tune in and don't miss the shows, guys. Get involved with everything. Thanks a lot for watching. Good luck to the Proteas. Good luck to everybody out there that's going to be supporting them too. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow with another review show. Peace and enjoy your evening.